well, we have a quorum, and it is after 12:30, so I think we'll start. Jim said they would be recording today. I see the microphones on the table, so let's just assume.
Juice, so I can move a little closer.
Let's just assume they are recording. This is the July 10th meeting of the Town of Darien Advisory Committee on Sustainability. It's 12:30. We are in room 206 of Town Hall. First item on the agenda is to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
Where's Carolyn?
I know.
She's running 5 minutes late.
I seriously, I suggest we hold off postponing the minutes till after she shows up.
Well, give me 2 minutes and then we'll move on.
I'm also trying to find the phone number. Kendra
Oh, yeah,
sent
yeah.
the phone number,
I have that.
and I can't find it.
I got it. I can do that right now.
And we just have to put her on someone's speakerphone.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
Where are you? I saved the
what I'm
email.
sorry, I'm
I saved
trying
the
my
email
phone.
intentionally. There she is. 500-386 is the code. Come on, call. Call.
Did you find it?
Yes, I did.
Welcome. This service is provided by freeconferencecall.com. Please enter. You entered 500-386. If this is correct, press 1. There is one other participant in the conference. Please announce yourself.
Kendra, are you there? Hello?
Hi, yes, Chad and I are here.
Okay.
Thanks for calling in.
Yep, we're here too. We've got so far Terry, Kathy, Beth, Cliff, and Craig, and Carolyn should be walking in any minute.
Great.
You want to postpone the minutes till
Carolyn shows
Carolyn
up.
arrives. That's how much trust you have in the rest of us.
That's how much trust I have in her.
Exactly.
All right, on our sustainable CT points strategy. I think the easiest thing to do is maybe just go down the Google Doc list and talk about the status of each item, or where we have gaps or where we have questions. So with that, I think the first two should be quick and easy. 1.6.1 having to do with CPACE, and 1.6.3 having to do with buildings that have participated in CPACE. I believe all that information is now uploaded on Sustainable CT, and in my assessment, the application information is complete. Any questions on that before moving on?
So this chart is wrong. These are actually submitted points.
Well, yeah, this is an update.
We're
Yeah.
updating, and I think just to make sure we've got the ones that we can update as we go, the document.
Yeah, and I
will be
actually already
updated.
I'm working on another, but yeah.
Um,
So that's the update. The update is, I found everything, I put everything online, I've annotated it, I've uploaded it, it's all there.
Okay.
So that's 10 points, right?
That's 10 points.
So-
And what about these plan points 20?
That's what that means. Or no.
Well, so what, I have no idea why it says plan points 20. Kendra, can you, or Chad, can you?
Yeah, we can look in 1 sec. It's 1.6, correct?
Yeah,
we all.
1.6.
I printed copies of the Google Doc. We're all looking at it, Chad.
Okay. It might have just been a mistake when I was writing out the numbers. Because you guys are only doing
Point 1 and point
Point.
3. Yeah, point 1
Yeah.
and point 3.
Yes, that one would be 10 points then.
Um,
And we can change that document later.
Yep,
Okay,
okay.
great.
I do just want to verify that if you guys will take a look, and if there is anything that Crick has not submitted, you'll let us know. I
Yeah,
guess that would be
uh,
the case on any of these today, because they've been reviewing the stuff
In the
we've been
coming
uploading.
week, we can go through the application
Yeah.
and check over all the actions that have been submitted and give notes on them.
Got it, okay.
Or the ones that at least have been completed.
Yeah,
Got it. That's-
definitely on those two, we would like you to look and confirm
Yeah.
from your perspective if you feel they're complete.
Definitely.
Okay. Moving to item category 2, item 2.1.2, the item we think we want to submit points for is citizen science, using the work done by Bill Cavers in partnership with David Knopf on water sampling in some of our coastal and riverine waterways. I reached out to Bill Cavers. He said he was willing to look over the criteria and provide something. I have not heard back from him. I was wondering if anyone else had. If not, I will reach out to him again.
I have not heard from him. I did send that email around that had the article from the Darien
Yeah.
Neighbor, which had a lot of what would go into writing it. So if you want me to contact him, and you or I can
Yeah,
contact
well, I'll tell
him.
you what, I'll shoot him a follow-up email today or tomorrow. I'll copy you on
Okay.
it, and then if you want to, maybe send him the article or offer assistance beyond that.
Yeah.
We'll do that.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay. So that's 2.1.
And that would be 5 points.
And that would be 5 points.
Christine is not here, and this is an area of discussion, but maybe if she's coming late because she had a pickup, maybe we can leave 3.
Okay, so we'll come back to 3.
Can we come back to 3?
She was the point person.
That's correct.
On category 3. So we're going to jump now to category 4. 4.1, integrate sustainability and resiliency into the plan of conservation and development. So the notes we have are that we did adopt a new POCD in 2016. There are some sections of the POCD that talk about sustainability and resiliency, specifically under infrastructure strategies and a couple other locations. I have not looked any further at this item. As with many action items, this comes with worksheets that have to be filled out, documenting exactly which sustainability and resiliency concepts are in fact written about and talked about in the POCD. I can still take that one on unless anyone else has time and is interested, not uninterested.
Is there anyone in the town government who could help with that? I mean, actually write something for us?
Well, yeah, I mean, the Jeremy, so this will come up again under our other elusive category, which is category 8. Category 8.1.1, which is really the only category 8 item we're going to be capable of getting points for, which is to create, expand, or maintain your community's housing data profile, and it gives you, the action items necessary to go through that process. There's a couple of worksheets that have to get filled out. There's a meeting that has to be presented before Board of Selectmen or the RTM or other governmental agency, maybe P&Z. I had reached out to Jamie, asked for advice on who she thought might assist. She directed me to Joe Warren, chairman of the Housing Authority. They discussed it, felt that they weren't the right people able to provide the support. They suggested going back to Jeremy Ginsburg. There was an insinuation that they had talked to him about referring me back to Jeremy Ginsburg, the town planner. Jeremy's been on vacation and is on vacation until next week, so I have been unable to follow up with him. But to answer your first question, I told you this story to tell you this. Jeremy would be the point person, and whether he does it or allocates it to someone in
And
his
this is
department.
8.1?
To assist with 8.1, and we're also talking about, we started this conversation on 4.1. So, since I have some experience going through plans of conservation and development, I think I'm able to get us, 80 or 90% down the road with that one. I might use Jeremy for support, but if I'm already asking him to do another thing that he doesn't know he's doing yet, I'm not going to put 2 on his plate. So that's where I finished with that. So I guess the status update on 4.1 is that I will take a stab at seeing how far I can get with 4.1. I'll use Jeremy as my partner to the extent that he's able and willing. And that's 4.1, but we have another category 4 item we can get points for that we had talked about previously. That's 4.3, 5 having to do with inventory and assess historic resources. Terry, have
Yeah,
you?
I've not uploaded anything, so I've been behind the 8 ball this month.
Okay.
So do you need help with that? I mean, do you have the information and just need to upload it, or do you need to get it?
I believe I shared that file last month, but I will be happy, I've got it in a spreadsheet right now, but I've not uploaded it. So yeah, if you're willing and able to do that, I'll send it to you right now.
All right.
Cliff has written 2 or 3 of them so far and is getting a feel for how this works. So if I don't have the little flyer in my book, but if the things that are in, I'm missing a page, but if the specific 4.5, I've got 4.4 and 4.6 in my notebook here, but if the specific things that have to be done for 4.5 are writing information we've already got, there'd probably be a place to start. I'm just missing that one in my folder to even tell you what's in it. But Terry is going to give that to Cliff. And assuming that Craig's plan of conservation work and Terry's work gives us some points, we haven't shown any points for either of those at this point in time. So we can kind of leave those as 0 at the moment. But there is another one in 4 that Carolyn's been working on the next page.
So hold on just one second.
So do you want to even put just 5 in?
4.1 could be 5 points. Oh, actually, this action has variable points, 5 to 90.
Put 5.
Yeah, let's put 5 in for now.
And the one that Terry was looking into, which is 4.5.
Hold on,
It's
it's
4.5.
no, I've got,
It's also a range.
I'm sorry.
Range from 5 to 45.
What's 4.5? What is the?
Inventory and assess historic resources.
Okay, I guess I listed that under 3.1.
Maybe it's an old application form.
That's map, tourism, and cultural assets, so they kind of overlap.
It's, yeah, pretty much, well,
There could
I
be
think
some
they're
overlap
pretty-
between the
yeah,
two, but not
they're
completely.
different enough.
Yeah.
this is
And again, it's critical to read the task, document.
Right, that's why, and I'm missing the 4 or 5 page to read the
Oh,
submission guidelines
well, I'm looking here
here.
on the website too. Well, you
Okay.
get the same book as I do, so you probably are still missing it.
But the 4, if we continue, if we flip to the second page of this document, there is another 4.3,
Okay.
which is out of chronological order, but is
So
something
valid.
that Carolyn found. Again, for some reason, I don't have all the tasks here. Do you
Develop agricultural friendly practices.
you want to explain that to the group?
Yes, so.
And I think Chad and Kendra have been working with you.
4.3, it's not on
Right,
this.
so 4.3 is develop agriculture-friendly practices, and if you go to 4.3.6, develop and promote community garden spaces for residents on municipal land, and that's worth 10 points, and that's completed, I
Oh, yeah.
believe.
You've got a lot of stuff up.
Yeah, and Kendra and Chad took a look at it yesterday and thought that it met all the requirements.
And so how many points would that be?
10.
Excellent. Thank you,
Yeah.
Carolyn.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Let me just do one thing here. Where do I want to go? I want to go to
Chad and
actions.
Kendra are on the phone.
They're right here, yes.
Oh, hi, hi, Chad and Kendra. I found another document to add to 4.3.6, which was a Darien Time, no, it was a Connecticut Post article on the community garden. So I made a PDF of it and tacked it on at the end.
That sounds great.
Okay, it kind of describes a lot of the things that I already talked about in it, but it has pictures and it's a good overview.
Documents it.
Yes.
Well.
Yeah, that sounds perfect. Your submission, even without that yesterday, was perfectly well and fit exactly what the requirements ask. So that could definitely be used as a model for how other submissions should be done.
Okay,
Carolyn gets the
4.3
scratch
point.
sticker.
And I thought I made a hot mess out of it. I thought
She
it
sent
was-
the biggest apology, I don't know what I'm doing, and she got the A. Okay.
Thank you.
So if we were, Craig, do you want to go on to 5, which also has your name on it?
great, my name's all over the place. Let's see,
It is.
5.
Parking
Yeah,
needs-
so promote, so that's it for category 4. I have one, yeah, I'm doing 4.1. Sherry with Cliff's assistance is gonna look at 4.5. So on 5, 5.2.1, which is promote effective parking management. I identified a possible 10 points there. We have, let me go back to the application. I've uploaded 3 documents that I was able to find. Let's see, hold on, my account. Not totally adept at this. Municipal dashboard, update application, getting better. All right, going down to 5 point, which one? 5.2.
2.1.
Okay, so the 3 documents I find that I did upload, 1 and 2, well, there's another one on. I have a Darien Downtown Parking Management Plan dated October 2015, and I have a Darien Downtown Parking Study also dated 2015. So we did a parking study, and then we created a management plan, and these are 2 very important things in the action items. Again, this is another one, we have to go through the worksheets and go through the documents and get the information in the worksheets and, kind of annotate and cross-reference that, in fact, we've met enough of the criteria within these 2 studies to qualify for points. So that's something that still needs to be done on these 2 documents.
And to the degree that you have the information gathered, I know that Kendra and Chad can look at the information, but they'd have to see it all and see if it makes sense.
Yeah, well, you guys, you see the 2 documents I uploaded,
Yes, we do.
which seem at least topical, if not.
Right.
right.
We can look over these submissions, and as you said, there's the worksheet that
Yeah.
still needs to be done, but we can give you comments on what you have so far.
So that's the issue, there's just basically getting the worksheet done on that one. So if I don't hear any other volunteers, I'll work on that as well.
So if you guys can make comments, and then the worksheet would end up being Craig
Yeah,
at this point?
That's fine, I'm still on point person on that one. So now we are going to category 6, also known as Beth's category.
Yes.
Okay.
Lucky you, Beth.
Having promoted interest having noted interest in building and energy efficiency.
And just as, before Beth describes what she's done or asks questions, I just want to make sure if on some of them, it's at this point listed as though it's a 25 points, and I'm wondering if that's the right number or if there are more, so.
I think it's more, because
Okay.
if we get 5 points per each Energy Star building, I just see here, they sent me back comments.
Okay.
On how to revise my submission. And then the Energy Star schools have more Energy Star ratings.
Okay.
Than the municipal buildings.
So the 25 that are listed on this Google document probably will be,
I hope it's another 15,
okay.
maybe 20,
Ooh.
so hopefully that'll be like 40, 45.
Possible plus.
35, 40 points.
All right, so
Okay.
let's go through these one at a time.
Yeah.
6.1, benchmark and track energy use. We have been doing that. I don't know if we've been doing that exactly the way Sustainable CT wants us to.
Well, I pulled it right off of the portfolio manager.
Yeah, okay, so we've got it
Right
right
on
here.
energy, so it has everything there, and it has their score that they've calculated. However, remember there was an error notice, so I just screenshot the.
Oh, yeah, I'm not talking about the individual buildings, that's 6.3, I'm talking about 6.1, which is overall municipal energy use.
Let me check that one.
Okay. I have the task sheet if you want a copy of it.
So, because we're listing 6.1, 6.3, 6.4, and 6.7. Maybe
Well,
they're listing too
Do we get
many.
points just for tracking it?
Yes.
Is that, yes, then we do that.
Track energy use in municipal and Board of Education buildings, 5 points.
We already do that. That
So,
that
but-
automatically gets uploaded, each of their Eversource bills gets uploaded to portfolio manager, so.
So we have to somehow look at the task item for sustainable CT and upload whatever information we get out of Energy Star
Okay.
to confirm that we get these points, right? So we have to explain
Okay,
this.
so we have to have the data request.
We have to document a sustainable CT that we are doing this.
Okay.
And it looks kind of submit, if you are using Energy Star Portfolio Manager, respond to the SCT Portfolio Manager data request and follow the instructions within the request on how to submit for points under the action.
Okay, because that's by password and login account. That's why I didn't upload that. But I will ask Ken about, going over, because he's uploaded the last couple of them.
Yeah, and so Ken is doing something like a little bit different because he has been pulling information off of the Energy Star Portfolio Manager and putting it in a spreadsheet
Right.
and adding oil data and doing some math to be able to track.
This just
Yeah.
needs us,
This just needs to, you write to Energy Star, say, yes, here's proof that
Okay.
in fact we are tracking all this
okay,
stuff.
data submission, that's what I got.
Yeah, so you just gotta look at this 6.1 sheet. I can get my copy if you want.
No, I have that, I have it
Okay.
right here.
Okay.
And that would be a that's
5
5
points.
points?
Got it.
Yeah,
So is that something she can just pull off Energy Star to get 6.1.1, looks like?
Is that a question to us?
Yes.
Yes, I believe that all she has to do is just upload that Energy Star portfolio, those pages you're referring to, and those 5 points are there. It just demonstrates that you're tracking your energy.
Okay, so we should be able to get 5 points there,
Then the-
and you're on that. So
Okay.
then we jump to 6.3, which is achieve high energy performance for individual buildings, which you were talking about. And so how is that going? Because you said there was a warning message the first time. you
There
said it.
was a warning message that they weren't giving you the Energy Star
Certification,
certification,
yeah.
but under their own metrics that was showing it was 75 points or higher,
Yeah.
which qualifies as Energy Star building. So what I would do is I individually went in and screenshot their Energy Star calculation
Yeah.
and submitted it.
Okay,
So she has that she wanted to add, this is what the documentation that Kendra and Chad said, add complete submission information, box information, upload all the documents from 6.3, rename your document starting with 6.31, and then choose the name of the document. So I have to.
you do some file management
Yes.
to make it a little more
Right.
organized.
And then it says information to your partners. Do I add Energy Star, Portfolio Manager or Eversource as a partner?
Yeah, I mean, Eversource.
No,
did-
you wouldn't have to in that
Yeah.
category.
Okay.
It's only if it's a municipal partner, like someone in your community
Okay.
who isn't like a large corporation.
Okay. So
We
then-
have in the past on Energy Star worked with Mike Lynch, Board of Education. We
Right.
have worked with DPW to make sure account numbers were correct and that, everything was being put in there.
Okay,
So we
so
have
should I
worked with
put-
partners in the past if you want to put them there, but if
So I
they're
put the Board
unnecessary.
of Ed in
You
there?
can put Mike Lynch in there, you can put, Ed Gentile in there.
And then points requested. So I should put in, submit five points per.
For every
Energy
building
Star-
that's 75 or over, and we're providing proof thereof, let's ask for 5 points.
Per building. Okay. I'll get in and do that.
And then 6.4, is that?
Was that 70,
Yeah.
70, over 70?
75.
75.
75.
So 6.4 is like, is a good one. Oh, there's Mr. Gentile, hello. But it also, the worksheet seems super complicated, so it's like, I'm struggling to,
This is what Ed gave me, and this is what I
Yeah.
uploaded.
okay.
And then I uploaded the bills behind it, and each one is for town hall, police station, DPW, and I labeled each one.
And so, but the critical item on this one, so there's like there's a worksheet attached to this one. So
Okay.
when you go through the task description, it'll say, fill out X worksheet, worksheet 1 or worksheet 2. And that's a part of the application submission. So I'm just going to 6.4 right now. And just seeing what it says.
Well, it has the completed calculator.
Yes.
I
Yeah,
would
so.
need help doing.
This is, yeah, exactly. I think this, so, there's 2 questions I have. One, on its merits, we have at least 5 installed solar rooftops with 3 more either under construction or planned for this year. And we have ZREX, renewable energy credits, documentation for the 3 most recently installed on the municipal side. I asked Mike Lynch for the 3 planned installs. He didn't have the documentation. You might be able to reach out to NCOM, Tim Sadler, to see what he has to help us complete this task plan. But so on a broad face of it, it seems like we're doing good things under this category because we're installing solar rooftops, and we should.
But we're not completing the action as,
Because, what is our overall electricity use, right? So that has to be parceled out from our gas use in the calculator to come up with a number.
Okay.
And then we have to, for these 5 to 8 rooftops, determine the amount generated on each system or the amount of renewable energy credits we have on each system, and put all of this information into a calculator that I looked at and maybe a little bit cross-eyed.
So would it be better to leave 6.4 off because we've got 6.1, 6.3, and then it looks like 6.7?
Well, I'm all for grabbing the low-hanging fruit first, but I also,
I think we should get some credit.
we get some credit because we're doing good things under this category, but it's a difficult one. It's not as straightforward as some of the others in my estimation. So that's one item, and then this is a question actually for Kendra and Chad. The town, as many towns do, is in an energy co-op, and they buy energy from a specific supplier. We have to pay for the distribution to Eversource, but we pay for the supply currently from a company called NextEra. And so my question is this: if that energy supply, we can prove that 15% of it, or 20% of it, or 10% of it is from Class 1 renewable sources, do we get credit for that portion as well, because we are technically buying from NextEra X% of Class 1 renewable energy?
I would need more specific information to then go to Sustainable CT staff and ask them.
Okay.
But if you would be able to give me like a few resources I could compile information from, I'd be happy to ask them.
Yeah, I think Kate Bush is on vacation too this week.
Yeah.
She sent me the email.
Yeah, are you able to talk to NextEra?
And I sent her back, I said, if you give me a contact name and number, I'll reach out, I'll
Yeah.
start the conversation.
Okay.
So she's working on that.
I mean, I happen to have been in selectmen meetings in the past when they were approving a new energy supplier, and this was years ago, and they did actually talk about the energy mix that we were purchasing. So I feel like it's something that we should be able to get documentation on from our supplier.
Okay. I gotta start with our broker first, then I'll get a name at NextEra to talk.
Okay.
We don't deal with them directly because now they bill actually through Eversource, so we never actually get to talk to anyone.
Okay.
Or I haven't anyway in the last year and a half.
Okay.
Which
Can I
makes the
ask-
billing easier, but the tracking down of this type of information, a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
Can I ask Chad and Kendra?
Yeah.
What do other towns do? Like, why is it so difficult for us to use this
Great question.
calculator?
Success stories, right?
And we seem to have a lot of information on it, we just don't seem to have the right information.
Or the ability to
Put it in the right
yeah, put it
documentation.
in the right way. So Fairfield, extensive documentation. There are success stories on the website
Okay.
that you can literally click on their application to see what they did to get points. And there's examples in here from Fairfield, West Hartford, Woodstock, New Haven, Easton. Maybe that's one we can look at. Samuel
using-
Staples School in Easton goes green with 950 solar panels. I'm just clicking on that one to see what it shows. That was just an article to,
Well, Chad and Kendra, what would you be comparing us to? Like, if we weren't able to put it all in this completed calculator, what other documentation might we use to get some points?
For this specific action, I would have to read more in depth to find where you guys would be able to get points for your renewables. And that's why I'm going to reach out to Sustainable CT staff to ask them.
Okay.
I would say for the calculator, though, referring to Fairfield might be helpful
Okay.
because some of the renewable energy comes to the town in different ways, whether they own it specifically or it's from another company. it leaves a lot of ambiguity. So looking at how another town might have done it can really help understand, like, okay, this is where this information goes and this is how it all fits together. But that's the best advice I can give right now without talking to Sustainable CT staff.
Okay.
So what I'm hearing as the outsider is 6.4.1 could possibly yield points if we could figure out how to
How to get them.
How to
submit them.
submit the
And we need
documentation.
help,
And it's a lot of
and we
points,
need
but-
Kendra and Chad to provide us some more insight on how to do this. Do they have the
Yes.
documents
Yeah,
that?
that's what I.
Okay,
uploaded,
so there is something that Beth uploaded, have you?
But, yeah, they looked at it and says
Said
it's not the
right
right
thing.
paper documentation for
Got it.
this work.
So the first, let's break this down into small pieces. So the first small piece is to try to figure out how much electricity we use each year as a municipality.
Okay.
Which you should be able to
From Ken.
discern from either Ken or the website. And then the second piece is accumulating how much of that is either currently or planned to be solar energy, right? So
The town doesn't have that documentation?
as with everything, there's no one person you go to in the town that says, let me grab my file, here you go,
Yeah.
right? So I have the 3 things that Ed
But-
did this year, and I have that documentation. And then there's Mike Lynch, who has 2 old ones, but then 3 new ones planned. Different companies did the install, different companies have the power
Yeah.
purchase agreements. And then we have the co-op, which is Kate and Nextera, you know, so like.
Well,
it's-
that, my point was like at like Jamie's, state of the town address, would she say, oh, we're using this much of?
Only if
renewable
someone
energy?
told her that.
Okay, so
And if
that's
it
not part
takes,
of her.
we're sitting here struggling,
Yeah.
figuring out how to get to that answer,
Yes.
right?
Right.
So it's a great, that's why I'm sticky on this one a little bit, because I think it's a good thing to
Yeah.
say,
Yeah.
right? To say
It's
that
good information
for us to
for,
know
Yeah.
and have, and what did 8 solar roofs get us? And when we switch from Nextera to Constellation, are we going from 20% renewable to 10% renewable? And did we even know that when we made the deal to do that, right? You know, and would we have made a different decision if we had known that? So I think this is good information to have. But this is the struggle of this whole process, right? It's falling to the folks at this table and the partners that we can grab into it to find the information and get it and copy it and scan it and name it and upload it and say, this is why I gave it to you. And that's the work that we're doing here.
That's why this application is actually a good process.
Yes, because then we'll have
Yes.
kind of everything in one place and we'll kind of be like, okay, we
And can
found
also
everything we
see,
could
like,
find,
what we
you know?
need to do,
like,
what we
you
need
know,
to do, right.
Absolutely, yeah. So, yeah. So if we can somehow figure out the total amount of energy we're using, that's one. And Beth and Ken might be able to figure that out. Ed, if you're talking to Xterra, I mean, it seems like they should know how much power they're selling us each year.
Yes.
It seems like a reasonable
You're
thing
looking
for
for a
them.
percentage of a class 1 renewable.
Yeah, well, but in the calculator, I have to say, this is how much electricity we're using every year.
Yeah.
And then this is how much of it is renewable.
So you're looking for a percentage of
Yeah.
that.
And so we could, is there a base percentage from Xterra that says, in southwestern Connecticut, it looks like 16.3% of our power was class 1 last year, something, data point like that.
Yeah.
And then we could add to it, and, we're generating this on the high school, and this on Oxbridge, and this on Town Hall, and this on police station, and this on, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then maybe 16.3 goes up to 20, and we get 20 points. That's the idea.
I'll be in touch, Ed.
yeah.
I'm not allowed out of my office lately, so.
Yeah.
I know where the back
And
door is.
if Beth isn't in touch with Ed, she'll be in touch with Kendra and Chad.
And also,
So that's 6.4.
That's
Jennifer, yeah.
6.4.
Any other questions on 6.4 before we move to 6.7?
Yeah.
So 6.7, again, this should be just a matter of paperwork. Install efficient streetlights, plan to do it and then do it, should get us 20 points. We did this, we did it within 5 years. It's just a matter of giving Sustainable CT through the application process the proof that we did it. Do we have that proof? Do you have any paperwork that says that?
yes, I just hadn't written any synopsis of it, so
Yeah.
like I submitted all the documents, and
Okay.
then I waited for feedback.
Okay.
And now they're coming back with,
again, file management, naming
Yes,
documents.
Yes,
Yeah.
so I might call you
Okay.
and say, like, how did you do this? Because I have all
Yeah.
this information here, and how do they want it,
Yeah.
per se?
And I can
Because
show
it's
you-
the submission information.
And I can show you some of the ways I've completed
Okay.
parts of the
Well,
application.
they gave me a guideline for submission,
Yep,
but
great.
sometimes it's not specific enough.
And look at Carolyn, since.
Since she got the gold star on that.
And, okay, so,
All right, so that's 6.4,
That's-
6.7.
seven, so we're
moving on
going to
from-
7, but before we get to 7, to the ones that say Craig, if we're keeping them in order.
Yeah.
7.1 was the hold a sustainability event up to, the more you do, 15 points for more than 10 events.
So this is 7.1.
7.1, and I don't see 7.1 on this spreadsheet right now.
So Kendra and Chad, we want to get 7.1 on the spreadsheet.
So that's Kathy.
And so you're putting together a list of
For 7.1.
sustainable-like events that we've held in the
And
last.
it's 5 points for each event, correct?
No, I think it's like 10
No.
points for 10 events.
You guys will get 15 points because you have more than 10 events, so the maximum is 15.
We will get 15 for farmer's market, and I think I'm going to do just for the case of one of the events at the library,
Yeah,
which is a different,
Coastal resiliency one.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was a different type of event. So I see, and I have the worksheet, the spreadsheet that you had to use to fill out. So, and I've been in touch with the farmer's market on who they are and where it is, and I just recently asked them if they have any kind of tracking of the number of participants. I know the vendor is waiting to find out how many shoppers they get on average per week, so I'm waiting to hear back from
So
the
silly,
cooperative.
silly question on that, since I'm going over there as soon as we leave here, should I be taking photographs?
If you want to take a couple of pictures, that'd be great.
Email around, email me, Kathy.
But so as far as so 7.1 should be added to the Google Doc for 11 events, which is more than 10.
And I actually just added that.
Okay? And and I'm responsible for that, with some pictures maybe from Terry. So then we would go on to the 7.5, 7.7, 7.8, which are Craig and Carolyn.
Okay, so 7.5, I believe, is completely uploaded and annotated. I made a quick edit today with the web link for where we're posting our DEP reports on municipal waste. So it still looks to me like we should qualify for 20 points there, and that one's all set. So I'll throw it over to Carolyn on 7.7.
Okay. Okay, 7.7. So for this one, I have from Darren.
I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt you
Oh.
very quickly. Actually, I think I'm going to edit what I just said. We completed 7.5.1 and we completed 7.5.2. I think we are going to get 5 points for 7.5.1 and 20 points for 7.5.2. Okay, sorry.
Are we not doing anything on 7.2.1, inventory existing communications channels and?
We are not doing anything on that. We haven't planned to do anything on that.
Okay.
One is always
Does seem
welcome to
be a-
try,
yes,
but.
it does seem to be a layup. It's just about how do we do this right now?
Right, I
It is-
mean, as you can see, the time commitments of each person at this table, I don't think that anyone at this table can do it. And 7
But if you
in our.
find yourself with extra time, you wanna read
If
about
it's, if you're,
7.2,
yes, if you're curious or think that's something we've done, but I think where we're gonna come out with is, right now, my biggest question marks are what we've got in 3 and what we've got in 8, in terms of we can't get certified without 3 and 8.
Yeah.
And everything
2
else
is
is,
also
at this
leak.
point,
Yeah.
building on the application.
Yep.
So should we go back to 3?
Would
No,
not,
no, let's-
let's finish 7, and then
Yeah, I'm sorry.
we'll go back
Carolyn,
to.
let's go to you.
Okay, so 7.7, I'll say it very briefly. We do, in fact, recycle, we should be able to get 40 points here because we do recycle a minimum of 4 materials that are not state mandated. They can include the extended producer responsibility items like mattresses, paint, and electronics. So from Darren, I do have copies of the contracts where we have them, or letters of agreement for pass-through arrangements. And I also have copies of the reports to the annual, what is it called? The annual municipal recycling reports for fiscal year 17 and 18 that show the tonnage of these materials that are being, who's picking them up, where they're going, and how much.
Perfect.
So I also need to show outreach, so we'll show.
Sample of Facebook posts,
Right.
samples of letters to the editor.
And the trifold brochure, and also the back of our new single stream recycling brochure that shows that we do provide an opportunity to recycle those things. So we should be able to get full credit for that. For 7.8, Kendra and Chad took a look at the contract that we have, or it was the draft contract that we have with City Carting that shows that our material is subcontracted to curbside compost. And I generally briefly described how it works, and they seem to think that we're good for that. I'll do the same thing there. I'll include the contract, how we, outreach pictures, etc. The only thing is for that's for 7.8.2. For 7.8.1, I'm not sure that we can get those 5 points, because that has to do with, I don't have the whole thing in front of me, but I believe, my recollection is that involves a food waste prevention program where you
Try to reduce it from the get-go.
Yes, and we can possibly do that, but it's not something we've done already. So, if we want to create,
So 781, should we just make that an exit, take that off at this point? Is that not where you?
I
okay.
would make it just 10 points for 7.8.2.
Yep.
And 7.8.1, if we can do that before August 30th, is that something, Ed, that would we put that on our page on the town website?
So it is choose one or more target sectors and implement or maintain an ongoing food waste prevention campaign in those sectors.
Right, like in some towns in their schools,
Schools.
Yeah,
they have a
that's-
table where
I think
kids
that's
couldn't put their, we don't
Beyond-
have that.
That's next year.
That's next year.
I think, 7.8.2 looks like exactly
Let's
what we've been
focus
working
on
on.
7.8.2.
Right, so let's focus on the 10 points. And then,
Yep.
can I just back up for a second, because I came in late, and I don't know if you discussed it already, but 2.1.2, provide watershed education.
Yes.
I've been working with Bill Cavers, and I have all the
Oh,
information.
you have?
Okay.
Yes, I didn't know what you said about it, so.
I was going to reach out to Bill and see where he was at.
Yeah.
I can just reach
So-
out to you, which is much easier.
Yeah, so I have everything that I need. Now that I've done one, I did the one yesterday,
Now
I
you're a
feel
machine.
confident that I can, upload this one. So I have newspaper articles, I have,
Description, there are the pictures.
from Save the Sound of the program, and I have everything I need for this.
Okay, great.
Did I send you the PDF from the Darien Neighbor magazine?
No.
I'll send that to you. 'cause
Yeah,
I sent
send
it
that,
already.
because it would be nice to include that as well.
Yeah, I've got it, and
I mean, I had that in terms of getting information for
I
me,
have it,
but
I
would-
PDF'd it to
Fantastic.
Craig and Kendra, and I will email it to you.
So this one should be
Okay,
done
so
either
that-
today or tomorrow.
Perfect.
Okay.
That's great.
All right, so two-
Because that
okay.
locks up two, which is
Yes.
important.
So that gets us to, back to, if we want to go back to 3, since Christine is here.
Can we go to 2 too? Because I'm trying to do that one.
Yeah, can we,
'Cause I think that's more
Can we finish-
attainable than 3. for
can we
sure.
finish 8, 9, 10 and then go back?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, you want to do-
Let's
okay.
just get through
Let's
it,
go and then go
we'll-
back to it.
and we'll
Fine.
go back to critical ones. 8, we did talk about briefly. This is probably our greatest Achilles heel at this point. It's the only thing that we can do, and it's going to rely on Jeremy Ginsburg to help us complete the worksheets and lead a meeting, perhaps with planning and zoning, but it is mid-July, headed into August, and
Is
there's not a lot of public meetings available.
Is this one, I mean, I'm going to push back on the original, like the other one we couldn't get points for because of the timing. And I'm still wondering,
8.2.2.
8.2.2, and I know Kendra and Chad have both spoken to Sustainable CT. and we have to wait for Jeremy to get back, but I'm still wondering, is there any room in that conversation at all with the stuff that's not
Pipeline.
built yet, the
Yeah.
stuff in the pipeline, and do we need to have a conversation? I mean, because my fear is we might not be able to certify because of 8. I think everything else will be covered.
Most clearly, we have one of our housing authority properties currently under redevelopment, doubling the density of affordable housing that was previously on that site, which should move the needle on our percentage, but
It's demolished at the
we're not
moment.
gonna have COs until the end of next year, optimistically.
Because that's the one that's demolished at the
Yes,
moment.
that's correct.
So I guess,
So if you were being like a real stickler, we'd probably reduce the amount of affordable
housing
housing.
this year,
Just knock
because
down
we
30 or
took, yeah,
whatever.
but they're not living anywhere. They have, the people
They
have
were
to
placed.
live
They have
somewhere,
them
they've been
elsewhere,
placed
right.
somewhere. So I guess I'm back to sustainable CT, dear fellows, and your people, maybe this may require a conversation. I don't have enough information, but it might have to be you, Craig, with one of their bosses on just a phone call at some point.
Yeah.
To explain where we're at and what's being torn down and
Well,
what's
yeah,
being
I can
replaced.
actually look at the numbers too,
Yeah.
because behind these percentages on the state documents, you can also get the numbers. And so if I know that we're adding 30 units and this project is currently being built and the chief of finance did and et cetera, et cetera.
Right, if there are signed documents, it should count, right?
I
Not-
would argue that.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's the broader question of what's the intent, and I think our
It'd be great to
totals.
grade our own application.
Yes, no, but I guess the intent is to increase your affordable housing stock and to have a sustainable community for many people. We will hit, based on these numbers, 200 points.
Yeah.
We're over that, but in every category but this. So I guess I'm leaving this as an open question for today. Is it worth a phone call to with Kendra and/or her people to
So the
dig through
question
that
is,
a little more?
let me make the best case I can in an email to Kendra and Chad, and then they can advise.
And one other thing.
How's that, guys?
Yeah, that sounds great. I think if Craig could get us those numbers, that would be good. My immediate feeling is that 8.1 is obviously your best bet, but if you're unable to present at a meeting, that would be the instance when we would then initiate conversation with Sustainable CT staff to see if this affordable housing that you have in the process of being built could count, because of course they want you guys to be certified, and if this is kind of something that counts and it's the only thing that's holding you back, they may give you a little leeway. But I think that conversation should wait until we know for sure that you can't do 8.1.1.
Okay, we'll proceed on both fronts.
Okay, thank you
till
for
we
that.
fall off a cliff.
Clarification.
Of course, yeah, thank you.
The other thing is when you look at the look-back period, it's 5 years, right? And so it's only not changed it's not like it's been 20 years, do you know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
like we just missed it.
By
And
1
I
year.
think the report online that they suggest that you look at to see where the change is, they have last year's report as the most recent
Yeah, they
report.
don't even have, yeah, exactly, so that's
Right.
5 years of
So
data.
if they don't
We don't even have the
post-
data for 2019.
Right, so if they don't post the new report for
Then we're-
2019
okay,
by
so
August 30th, we can use, and we're within 5
Okay,
years.
so this has to be watched very carefully
That's a
for submission.
technicality, but we
Okay.
should use it.
Fair enough.
Yes, I
Okay,
was thinking
so-
the same thing.
We'll move on from 8. You want to go to 9?
Yeah, let's talk about how we're getting points on 9.
It's like a puzzle, you know?
9.1A is using the permitting for certain identified families through the director of the Social Services, Human Services Department. And I am working on the 5-point narrative that needs to be written on that. And I have met with and spoken to both Ally and Diane Barston. So that, according to the work with Sustainable CT, is probably is a 10-point submission. And then Cliff was working on a 9.1B, and it's up or it's close to being up. Is that correct, Cliff?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't uploaded it.
Yeah, but
I've
it's
had a
almost done.
document reviewed.
Yeah, written.
Well, but I'm still a little bit puzzled on this because I haven't seen anything showing the work done on the equity toolkit itself. And they're asking here about things that I would have expected, because that includes an inventory, right? It includes a survey of the town.
We're a little bit past that. We're gonna start, a step to that based on, you and I should talk on that separately, because the survey in the broad sense of the town, but we're down to the survey relative to the farmer's market, which is 7.1, and what things where are there any gaps relative to that action? So we're not, does that make sense?
Well, but I don't think, what I'm seeing here is they want to know, for example, what percentage of the town is our seniors.
I have a lot of that information.
So that would be in the survey that the toolkit expects done, right?
I have some of that information, and the write-up as I saw it, which was what Kendra sent and I sent to you, was those 5 questions.
Well, I got the questions, and I've addressed them one by one. I sent you that, didn't I?
Probably. Who lives and works in it? Yes, the number 1, I have some of that.
Because it does say what to do. On the what to do, the first item says complete the sustainable CT equity toolkit.
Yes.
In its entirety.
Yeah, and I had, where is that? You've done that.
No. We're gonna run out of time. I think we should talk
Okay.
offline on this, because the answer is, I did it in the degree that I met with the Human Services Department. We did that in that we met with a larger group. I spent some time with an equity coach, and we've picked 2 actions, 7.1 and the food composting, to apply the toolkit to. And the broader piece of it is who's in the community, and I have some of that information from the town, the housing data profile and things of that nature that will be the write-up of the beginning.
Okay, so you
So
believe you
we
have the
can, I
information
believe I have
necessary.
enough information to write the first part. And then we could do that together. I can give you copies of what they had and gave me.
Okay. So your
I found
focus
one
is
more
on how
piece,
it's added
Carolyn.
to the farmer's
I found
market,
one more.
effectively.
Well, I've done that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It's just that the background piece is.
Yeah, and
Okay.
it's, and
All right, so Kathy and Cliff will work together offline.
Yeah, we need to do that together.
To complete, hopefully 2 action items under 9. Yes?
yes.
All right, so 10, Cliff has supported us by writing up the Bring Your Own Bag campaign. And
I'm sorry, what point do you want?
on
10.1.1.
10.1.1, and the write-up of the pollinator pathway. And you feel is that stuff uploaded and done, or just?
So I'm gonna call the bags A and the pollinator pathway B.
Okay.
And I have a document for A that everything has been uploaded, but this incredibly important document. It's all been reviewed and finished, except it's missing one little data point, which I'd like to put in. How many people signed the damn pledge to skip a straw? It's a very small thing. If I can't get the data point, I'll just eliminate that and it'll still be done. So
Who would have that?
That, maybe Paola?
Paola, I've communicated with her. She apparently doesn't have it. She's trying to get it. So that A is done. I'm going to say it's done. It hasn't been uploaded, but the document is already available. B, I've been working with Deepika Saxena, and she says she's going to write this for me. She had some computer problems. She says she'll have it by next Wednesday.
Great.
So I think that I'm pretty confident that will be done.
Excellent.
Thank you.
All right, so we
You've
went
been
through
incredibly
once.
thorough with those.
Yeah, thank you for your support and help. And so raise your hand. Christine, you wanted to go back to 1?
Sure.
Item.
Well, I can tell you what I'm working on.
Which
Three,
item?
was it?
I'm attempting 2.5. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get it done.
Okay.
But I submitted to Chadwick and Kendra this morning the 2.9 for the forest to see if, I think the things that have already been done by the different agencies in town already.
2.5 is creating natural resource and wildlife inventory.
Yes.
Okay.
And then 2.9, which I actually think is already done. I think it's just a matter of putting it into the proper formatting.
Okay.
The invasive
Great.
species, 2.10. We do have the link on the DPW, on the Town of Darien website for the Connecticut invasive plant species list, I'm just not sure if that's gonna be enough to get us.
So to slow down very quickly, you are looking into 2.5, 2.9, and 2.10 and trying to muster some points for us in those categories.
I am.
Okay?
And then I think Terry and I are supposed to be working on 3.1 and 3.2.
Definitely, so as
Three
you-
is the only one we really aren't sure on yet,
Yeah.
other than 8.
Yeah.
Well, I think 3.1 and 3.2 are completely doable.
Okay, that would be fantastic, and.
Just based on what you've
just so
already done,
you recall
Terry,
that
and what the
we-
library.
Did I
The
send you
only
the
way-
spreadsheet?
No.
The only way we can get certified is if we have
One in
points in
each, yes.
each of the
I
9
know.
categories, and so far we have like no pathway in 3 other than through what you're working on.
Well,
No
I think
pressure.
3.1 is easy. You've already done half the work. I think
Yeah,
it's
I've
just a
got the
matter of-
spreadsheets, but I have done nothing to upload it.
So the point
I
is, I
think
think,
we
didn't we
did.
just say
I've been
that
looking into it as
3.1 was
well.
going to go to somewhere else? We
Map
were,
tourism and cultural assets, we said that it might be
A
overlapped
lot
a
of it
little
is,
bit
a
with 4
lot
or
of
5.
it
A lot of it
is
is overlap.
overlapping.
with,
4 or 5.
okay, 4, 5,
5.
and 3, 1 may have.
Well, yeah, one has to do with the people and the contacts, and the other has to do with the physical items themselves.
Yeah, but let's make this, just in terms of having a point person, Christine's gonna be the point person on 3.1, Terry will
I'll
be the
work
point
with-
person on 4.5, to the extent that you guys are gonna
Okay.
collaborate,
Yes.
please do so.
And
But you've already
and
got the
Cliff,
inventory, is that right, Terry?
right, and
Yeah.
Terry said
So
he
you
would
have
work
it.
with Cliff to write up 4, 5, right? That was what we were talking
And I've
about.
contacted CT Visit. I have a point person there. We just need to get it up on our website.
I
so-
mean,
So you
I
said-
literally have on 3.1, 60 different organizations
Yes,
with
we
the
just need
contact
to-
information,
Yeah.
why it qualifies. I mean, it's laborious. They ask for a lot of stuff that God
Yeah, I
knows
know.
if anybody's going to use it, but.
Contact information, general
Right,
description,
yeah,
location.
exactly.
da.
Is,
And
and
then
that's
create a
different
usable
from,
and public online resources that enables the community to access that information.
Right. And 4, get over to 4.
Before we hit 4, you said you were also looking at 3.2.
I'm looking at 3.2 to see if I can get some partial credit for that.
Okay.
So in the 3.2, or I'm not sure exactly where, but the senior art program is pretty significant, and I have information about that. I'm just needing to kind of see where you want me to fit it in.
That's 3.2, right?
Yeah, that would be good. Then we'd at least get some points in that.
do you, in the, I don't have, my.
Do we have a poet laureate?
We do not.
Um,
Include
Arts
3 out of
districts.
10, 3 actions in 1, that's an
Let me go back to
option.
yours.
We have
Include
not.
arts and culture and publicly available municipal marketing. Commit dedicated funding to the arts.
So what?
Yeah, so for
Dedicated-
example, in the Darien Senior Center, rather than submitting it as a senior center, and Chad and Kendra, I'm asking this as a question. Within the senior center, there are literally 20 separate programs. There's Learn to Speak Italian, there's Learn to Play Bridge, there's Learn to Draw, there's,
cetera.
yeah, and we can go on forever. Would each of those qualify as a separate individual cultural asset?
I think you have to look at, again, you gotta go to the to-do list,
Yeah.
and you've gotta read the to-do list. Did we establish a poet laureate? Yes or no? No. Did we include arts and culture in publicly available municipal information? Yeah, probably. There's probably
Yeah.
some flyers and stuff
Yeah.
around that we have to
Yeah.
document.
That's
Right, like that,
defined.
it's not about how many
Who-
classes did you offer.
Who's the "we" in establishing the poet laureate?
The
The
town
first
passes a
selectman?
resolution.
The town.
Well, a
It can't
copy
be
of
the
a
library?
resolution, ordinance, or other.
That's not gonna be done.
Library
for
can't
us.
set it for public.
It says other.
Poet laureate. But a poet laureate's established by the town.
Yeah, it would be,
not by the
it would be
library.
something in the
Library's
municipal.
independent.
I would
But
But if
support
the
it.
library passes one and brings it to the town,
But
It-
so
it-
here's
it's
the
just-
issue.
we have a meeting on
only have to do-
Thursday with a poet, that's
listen,
why I'm asking.
We only have to do 3 of these 10 things, right? So
Yeah,
like,
okay.
so I want to focus, we have literally 5 weeks left to file our
Right.
application. So we may make it and we may not, and it's okay if we don't, but we would all like to do it since we've invested a lot of time and energy.
Yeah.
And so as you are working on items under Chapter 2 or under Chapter 3, what I would ask you to consider is if there's a low-hanging one under 2, do it and complete it, and if there's a low-hanging one under 3, do it and complete it.
Well, that's why I think the
And then-
2.9 is low hanging.
And then go
That's a
on
done
to
deal.
figure out how many other
Yes.
points you can get us.
Yeah.
So why don't
But get
we
one in each category
Or
quickly.
schedule a call.
Right, just so that we
understand.
have them anchored down.
I've
Yes,
uploaded that
exactly.
onto the Google Docs drive. It's all, it's in there now. That's why I'm thinking, when I emailed it, I didn't email
Yeah, I
it,
saw
I
it.
uploaded it.
I saw it
Yeah.
though in there,
Yeah,
yes.
So anyway, you-
One
you-
question that
go
needs
ahead.
clarification as
Yeah.
far as I'm concerned, maybe you guys already know it, but 3.2.3.
Yes.
When it says commit dedicated funding to the arts, I doubt very much that the budget for the senior center
Dedicated funding to the
is
arts.
dedicated funding to the arts. But there is dedicated funding from the town to the senior center, and the senior center has a budget which would have dedicated funding to the arts. Would that qualify?
So it's like
It says it could
subcontract,
be
yeah.
part of the municipal budget
If there's a line
dedicated
item.
to outside services, so that would qualify, I would think.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
if
not
we can
just,
call it the budget, and there's a line item that says senior center arts program,
Right.
right? Or there's a line item that says,
I'm
Well,
not
there's
a
very
line-
concerned with budgeting for the town, but I doubt it would go
The
down to
arts.
that level.
but there is a line item for Darien Arts Center, and there is a line item for Darien
yeah,
Library.
if we're giving money to Darien Arts Center, that
We
nails
did.
it.
Yeah,
That's
we do.
They're in our
dedicated
building.
funding,
Yeah.
Yeah,
And they're in our building. We're gonna-
Right.
yeah, that's.
So
that
that's
would be
why
the-
I'm thinking there have got to be, I haven't read the submission
specific, yeah.
points for 3. And I know the first go-round, when you were looking at youth, Kendra and Chad thought that we didn't get anything, and I don't sort of buy that at the youth, but I think if you just go back to.
We have some of it, just not all
So,
of it.
don't all of
Yeah.
it, but if you go back to arts and culture and you look at the Darien Arts Center and the plays and the programs, and their building is in Town Hall, which is right here, so there's a funding part.
There's
As
a-
long as
there's a-
we're a piece of supporting them, as well as a piece of supporting the
So
senior
we
center.
could just even do like a screenshot of
We
the
have
budget.
They have 11 examples, we need 3 of them.
Correct.
To get
I'll
10
try to
points.
find it. for you.
Correct,
And-
so we ought to be able to find those
And-
things, and it may
and-
take sitting down and reading that list of 11
Yes,
and
coming up with the
connecting
best
them.
idea.
And hold on, the other thing, I'm sorry I didn't think about this till now. The town, through the Monuments and Ceremonies Commission, has a display case downstairs, which we utilize every year for the art program at the high school.
Yeah.
We utilize the hallway every year for the
So
grammar
again,
school
I'm-
art
I'm gonna
programs.
interrupt, I
Yeah.
apologize, but
We need to
the
do.
good idea is you need to read first what they want you to do.
Right.
And then see if you're doing any of those things. Not
Yeah.
like, I have a good idea, they should give us points for my good idea.
And then write it down.
And then
Yeah.
write it down.
And I think that the goal of those of us that have been meeting on Wednesdays at 12:45, the goal for next week ought to be to see what we can dig through 2 and 3, is really the ones that are gonna, a week from now.
And-
2 and 3?
2 and 3, well, 2
Category
because
2 and
Christine's
category
working
Category
on.
2, we have things.
No, I mean,
Well, you have
she's.
the Bill Capers thing, which you hopefully.
Oh,
will
oh,
not-
Yes,
Right,
but
and-
to hone them in and talk about them, and if we
Yeah.
still have questions out there.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sort of saying we probably don't have to talk about 9 and 10 anymore.
Right.
Or,
Right.
or 1, but 2 and 3 and 8. if-
Well, look,
depending
I-
on- So that's
look-
all I'm just saying.
We're meeting weekly.
Yep.
Do you mind if we jump in quick?
Yeah,
Yep.
go ahead.
So Chad and I have a meeting. Unfortunately, we have to go to it too.
Yep.
So we just had some closing comments that we wanted to pass on to you guys. First of all, I wanted to ask Terry if he would be able to change the access rules to that Google folder that you created, so that Chad and I can look in it as well, and we could upload the strategy spreadsheet to there as well, so everyone has access to that as well.
Yeah, I was unable to get in there too.
Yeah.
All right, hold on.
We just have viewing access, not editing access.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, we wanted to remind you that you should be shooting for about 220 points, but I think although the strategy spreadsheet isn't entirely up to date, I was editing as we were talking. If whoever wants to look through it and double check that the point values are right, I think you guys are at about that goal, so that's really exciting. I also wanted to let you know that Chad and I are both either going to be on vacation or leaving in beginning or mid-August. So the first 2 weeks of August, there's only going to be one intern available to you. And then after the second week of August, our positions will be done. So unfortunately, the last 2 weeks of August before the application, you'll have to go to Sustainable CT staff for help, but they're, of course, always really welcoming and helpful as well. And that was really it. Yeah, you guys were really excited that you're using the strategy spreadsheet and that these meetings are really productive. We're always here to help you, of course. And if you guys have any further last questions, now is the time. Otherwise, I think we have to call off for now.
Anything for Kendra? Chad? Thank you
Just
very
want to
much.
thank you for all
Thank
of
you.
your help and immediate response time on these things. Thank you very much.
Yeah, of course, and thank you all for your hard work. We'll be in touch throughout the week, and we'll be calling into the subcommittee meeting next week as well.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Okay, great talking with you all. Bye.
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 Do you have something?
Yeah, on the Google Docs, 6.6, the install efficient streetlights has been uploaded, and we're going for 10 points. I have to make a couple of improvements, it's gonna give me a little blur, so we want to include that.
Yes.
6.6 municipal.
I have
Install.
6.7 install
Yes.
efficient streetlights.
Right,
Right,
so
right.
10, not
Yes.
20 points.
No, and then there is, I'm sorry, 6.6 manage municipal fleets, we're going for 10 points.
Okay.
Oh, that was the one.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sorry.
so leave the other one at 20, 6,
Yes.
7 at 20, and looking for
We can-
6.6.
Yes, because we've completed 100%.
Of item
Street
6.6.
conversion, yeah.
Okay, great.
All right, and my count puts it up to potential of 250 points, if we look at it all.
Couple of
I don't know
quick-
if the solar
Thank you.
one,
Couple of other quick things on the agenda since we're here. Any update on food scrap recycling at this point?
Not really. The only thing I wanted to mention is that both Stamford and Westport are asking questions about our program. They are wanting to institute programs there.
Awesome.
So, right.
Why,
and-
just forget your past.
Our material
I want to run.
Our material is being picked up twice a week now because it's the summer months, and I will be touring the site with the Director of Public Health, the Director from the Health Department, July 18th, I believe, because that's part of our, if anyone else wants to,
Oh,
I
in
can
terms
let you
of the
know.
points.
Yes, in
Okay.
terms of the points, yeah.
Okay, great.
So it's just, to make
Did we
sure
do it in a
that.
healthy way?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
If you could go before that date, or if I have to go with you, just
Oh.
to take a look at it, if there's anything we need to refine,
Okay.
we'll do that before he goes.
Okay, what's good is that I've noticed is that the collection bins are under a nice shady tree, which is good. And I noticed that the city carting guys have been, once the bins are full, they've been moving them way to the back so that they're not sitting there.
So those are both good practices?
Those are both good practices.
What time is your 18th meeting?
It's not set yet. He hasn't gotten back to me, but it's going to be in the morning, and I can let you know if you want to come. I'll let everyone know if anyone wants to come. So it's just, I imagine it'll be 15, 20 minutes.
Awesome.
So,
Good work.
yeah.
Anything on the swap shop, Dan?
It's still busy,
Busy's good?
Still
Smooth,
busy.
smooth. Smooth is the word we want to hear.
busy, smooth. It's smooth because of Ed's sign. The sign has really worked. We only had to invoke the 20-minute rule once, first Saturday.
For you?
Now people are getting to understand
Get
that
out of
when
here,
it gets
Dan.
busy, they have to leave. It's amazing. So the sign is really working. Thank you very much. And about 2 weeks ago, someone came in with a beautiful table. Gorgeous table. I said to him, why are you recycling this? He said, well, I'm downsizing. I really don't need it any longer. But I got it 8 years ago here at the swap shop. So I couldn't believe it. So we are recycling, we continue to recycle.
I was going to say that I forget which town it was, if it was Fairfield or one of the towns used their swap shop as one of their, to get points for one of the things, the
I'm sure we can-
non-mandated materials.
How many points can we get under 10?
Only 40.
So why not write it?
Not under
swap?
10, under 7
Oh,
point,
oh,
yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah, and we've already got 2 under
So,
10.
Yeah,
we
we already have the
easier ways to get
maximum.
the 40.
Right,
We're-
but what I will do is I'll put a couple of extra things.
Oh, just in case one doesn't qualify, we have the
Right.
others, yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
but they should all qualify. They should.
Ed, any update on the police station energy use?
Yeah, we're meeting with, we met with the facilities guy last week. We're gonna meet with the new police chief sometime this week, I think Friday, to go over the report and start to hone on our what we could do
action.
now, yeah, it comes down to putting money in the budget now. Or do we go for a transfer? It's just some decision they have to make.
Remember, we have $5,000 in an account that can be earmarked to energy efficiency improvements.
We're probably gonna need about $100,000 to
So
upgrade them.
I'm sure we'll
But that's.
will be a huge,
every
huge
little-
component. It does need a home, and I'd like to find a deserving project
Okay,
for
I will keep that in mind.
Is that from our grant from?
it. Yeah, we bought $5,000 worth of light bulbs, and we
Right.
still have the $5,000 left over.
Didn't we? I thought we ended up giving it.
We got a second grant. We gave
Yeah.
$10,000 to the LED lights at the paddle courts.
Right,
But
but
we-
wasn't there a timeline on when we had to use it up by? No, good.
And someone has taken hundreds of dollars out of it for unknown reasons. I think it was just unallocated or improperly allocated accounting. But anyway. Anything else, folks, before we close? Oh, wait, back to the minutes.
Yes. Carolyn?
Oh, they look good to me.
I second.
There were so many.
All in favor?
I can't speak for the
Aye.
specific
All in favor?
points and everything, but.